name is Emily Coleman. I'm a Bundjalung woman, but I grew up on Jinnaburra and Dungee country, which is like the hills of Kilcoy. And I work for Digi Youth Arts and a few other companies as a creative producer.
My name is Joella Walkill. I'm a very proud First Nations and South Sea Islander woman. I'm of the Yidinji people from far north Queensland, and my South Sea Islander heritage comes from Okatawa and Lakatawa villages in North Pentecost and Woe village in Ambrym Island.
Okay, my name's Kader. I am a proud Darrinbal Waka Waka woman from my mother's side and PNG from my father's side. Grew up in Brisbane my whole life, so Brisbane is a home for me.
My name is Kayla Truth. My family's name is Tyson. I'm a proud Marooney woman of the Gurung Nation with ties to the Ngugi people of the Kondamuka region.
A personal triumph for me was being able to finish my uni degree through facing the challenges and trauma of losing my dad to cancer and supporting my family through that. Since then, because of the strength and growth that I had through that process, I've been able to get a lot more opportunities, and I wouldn't be able to do that without having learned about what I can do in my own capabilities.
A personal triumph for me is going to university. So I grew up with this narrative that uni wasn't for me, it wasn't for people like me, and I get caught up, I guess, in the study load sometimes that I forget that the fact that I'm halfway through my double degree right now is a triumph in itself.
Personal triumph for me, being the only girl out of 6 boys, there was a lot of expectations of me to sort of lead the way in my family. Moving away to Ayers Rock Resort at the age of 20 was a massive, massive challenge for me. I ended up moving out to Ayers Rock and staying out there for about 2 years, and that sort of kickstarted my career. So despite all the challenges and being homesick and so family orientated, I feel like that was a personal triumph for me.
An important personal triumph for me is getting to the stage in my life where I could reflect on my traumas and acknowledge that I needed to gather some tools that could help me begin my healing journey and also consistently continue along that. I can admit that it's extremely uncomfortable. It's not easy, beginning your healing, but I also know that our people are extremely resilient, and I like to think that the resilience that I've inherited from my ancestors will get me through my healing journey.
A professional challenge for me is working on Indigenous projects with non-Indigenous companies, because the protocol and processes are not the same. As Indigenous women, we have responsibility to our community and to our stories and to uphold that, and it's not always done in the same way that it is in non-Indigenous organizations. So yeah, it can be a little bit challenging finding that balance.
A professional challenge is finding a work-life balance, I think. In working in the performing arts industry, it's usually asked of you that you attend a lot of events, gatherings, and forums, workshops, and everything like that. But I think it's vital to our profession as well to establish a healthy work-life balance and understand when to pull back or pull away or slow down a bit to avoid burning out.
I guess joining the corporate world and recognising unconscious bias was very heavy for me, but dealing with that and acknowledging it and then being able to rise above that and then showcase our people and what we're capable of, to me that was a professional challenge that I've now overcome and still overcoming it, but we're getting somewhere, which is good.
It is professionally challenging for me to work in a creative space where we're constantly pushing to share our stories as First Nations people, because it means that we are frequently reliving our traumas. While it's important and necessary to tell these stories, I think that it's also very important to get to a point where we can acknowledge when it's best self-care practice for us to step away, reground, and bring ourselves back when we're strong enough to be in that space.
Recently, I got to travel to Tasmania, and it was amazing, and I got to share some of my work, some of my spoken word, but when I wrote it, it was in response to country and my relationship to the land that's down there, because it's not my country. And so I sat with the work that I'd written, and I shared it with Kinyani, the mother mountain down there. And it had been a really rainy and overcast day. And when I finished reading the poem, the sun, like the clouds parted and the sun just started beaming on my face. And it was like, yes, like Auntie Mountain and Mother Mountain, like they're listening to me and they're kind of like approving of work that I'm sharing. And I shared that work again when I was on Cubby Cubby Country, and while I was reading it, the grandfather trees were just like rustling and like the wind just was sweeping through, and it was having that approval from not only the local mob but the actual country and the old people living in the trees and the mountains was just like, oof, I'm gonna cry thinking about it. It was like, yeah, connecting to country is a massive win, I think.
Cultural win for me, I think, is healing. So last year I lost my grandfather, and I think the feeling of that loss of knowledge and stories really woke me up and made me realize the importance of just sitting down with my mum and my aunties and asking them about our family's history. And surprisingly, in the past 6 to 8 months, my family's been more open about that as well. And I think that's an act of healing this intergenerational trauma and unlearning these colonial methods that we were not meant to pass on knowledge and stories. And helps me create a better future for the generations to come after me as well.
A cultural win to me is seeing my family still together after all the struggles that we've been through. My parents are still happily married over 20 plus years now. From living on the streets to now owning our own house, and our family still being connected, and then having that healing process to go and connect with our culture again. To me, that's a cultural win, especially with my mum going through the redress scheme at the moment. It's been very challenging for her personally, but then to see her overcome that and not only go through it but grow through it, to me, that's a cultural win.
I've had a few cultural wins in the last few years because I've been blessed with the opportunity to learn dances and languages from my grandfather's side and my grandmother's side, which gives me the opportunity to step up as the eldest grandchild and be able to pass that knowledge on to my younger brothers and sisters, and then again on to my nephews and nieces.
Making mob proud and making our young people feel like they have agency and a platform to speak from because of the work we're doing, and making our old people know that their fight and their resistance was worth it.
Black excellence to me is about reclaiming spaces to enjoy our own successes and achievements, but also holding that space and creating more space for other mob to come up with us and be a part of our successes and achievements. I think it's an embodiment of continuing these traditions that we are a part of something that is bigger than just us. Yeah.
To me, Black excellence isn't defined by the colour of your skin, and you're not defined by your past. So our people have suffered a lot, and we've come a very long way. We've endured a lot of suffering, pains, challenges, but to now see our people being put on the map for excellence, or for Black excellence, to me, we're breaking the roof with that, and that's what we need to be recognised for. Excellence, like going to uni or studying or acting or becoming doctors, becoming just anything you want to be, knowing that the sky's our limit and we're not being defined by our past, but we're being stronger and moving forward. To me, that's Black excellence.
For me, Black excellence means not only surviving but thriving in two worlds. We have to live in two worlds as First Nations people, and we are successfully taking up many spaces professionally, but also being able to unlearn the effects of colonisation, relearn cultural practices, heal ourselves along the way, and I guess just enjoy ourselves while we're doing it.